1306 1306. Chapter 1306. Do monsters drop magic treasures when killed? In the 8th star fortress, a heavy pressure permeated the air. A true god realm cultivator arriving here would feel as if their body was weighed down by 10,000 pounds, making even basic movements difficult, and flying would be impossible. This was intentional, as from the 7th fortress onwards, the areas faced were those of the Divine King realm. If a true god realm cultivator recklessly came here, they could lose their life at any moment. The 7th fortress was still manageable, but the 8th fortress was even more dangerous. This setup served as a warning to those true gods who did not know their limits, making them retreat in the face of difficulty. Lin Moyu emerged from the teleportation array, immediately attracting the attention of many. There were quite a few divine kings in front of the teleportation array, at least a dozen. The sudden appearance of a true god was very eye-catching. In the eyes of the divine kings, Lin Moryu's true god aura was unmistakable. As for Zhu Qiwu, his aura was deep and concealed, so the divine kings ignored him.
A true god coming here, is he seeking death? The 8th war zone is not a place for true gods. They could lose their life at any moment. He sure is bold, standing there motionless. Is he unable to move? Being able to stand is already impressive. The pressure here is so heavy that even a first-level divine king would feel uncomfortable. How can a true god bear it?
The discussions of the divine kings reached Lin Moryu's ears, but he showed no reaction. He quietly waited for Zhu Qiwu, who was performing some operations on the teleportation array. They were heading to Area 101, a hidden area that couldn't be reached by ordinary means. Zhu Qiwu needed to use his authority to open the teleportation to that place. After about a minute, Zhu Qiwu said in a deep voice,
"It's done."
Lin Moyu re-entered the teleportation array, and the two quickly left. The divine kings present thought Lin Moyu had returned, considering it the normal course of action. A mere true god should not be active in the 8th war zone. It was pure suicide. But suddenly, someone noticed something unusual because the teleportation array remained active. Under normal circumstances, after they left, the teleportation array should enter standby mode, waiting for the next use. But this time, the teleportation array stayed active. Among the 10 teleportation arrays, the other 9 were in standby mode. Only this one remained active.
What's going on? No idea, never seen this before.
An elderly divine king suddenly spoke in a low voice.
I've heard of something similar. It's said that many fortresses have hidden areas. Whenever someone goes to a hidden area, the teleportation array stays active until they return. What are hidden areas? I've never heard of them.
Immediately, someone questioned, as few had heard of hidden areas, and there was no information about them in the Human Emperor network. The elderly divine king explained,
Since they are hidden areas, naturally not many people know about them. I only learned about them by chance. Hidden areas are said to be very dangerous, with a high chance of death and little reward, making them not worth the risk. That's why the military keeps them hidden, to prevent people from going there to die.
The crowd listened to the elderly divine king, each showing surprise. There were too many secrets on the battlefield. Even as divine kings, they didn't understand many things, let alone the divine sovereigns. A teleportation array hidden in the void suddenly lit up with a faint light. The light illuminated an area of 10,000 meters, like a fireball slowly burning. Lin Moyu and Zhu Qiwu appeared in the teleportation array. Zhu Qiwu set coordinates in the teleportation array, which could sense his battleship and serve as a starry sky beacon. There were no outposts here, and nothing was shown on the star map, just an endless void. Without setting a marker, it would be easy to get lost. Although not afraid of getting lost on the battlefield, losing direction and accidentally entering enemy territory would be troublesome. After setting the marker, Zhu Qiwu closed the teleportation array, and the void returned to darkness and silence. If the teleportation array continued to emit light, it could serve as a beacon but would be too conspicuous and easily destroyed by enemies. A divine sovereign-level battleship continuously jumped through the void, each jump covering tens of millions of kilometers. Surrounded by endless void, with no reference points, Lin Moyu had no idea how Zhu Qiwu was navigating. Hidden areas were very mysterious, fundamentally different from other areas. This was originally a nameless void, but people came because of the chaotic rules. Zhu Qiwu said in a deep voice,
"Our human race defines this as a hidden area, but other races do not. When you enter the Yellow Earth Desert, besides the inherent dangers, you may encounter other races, so be careful."
Lin Moyu asked,
"Isn't it said that there are no benefits in that area? Why would other races go there?"
Zhu Qiwu laughed.
"No benefits only apply to our human race. For some special races, that area is beneficial. The Yellow Earth Desert contains earth and stone laws. For races proficient in these laws, it's a good place to cultivate. Moreover, the desert continuously spawns monsters. Killing them yields their crystal cores, which can enhance these laws. There are also leader-level monsters in the desert. Killing them drops special materials, though these materials are useless to our human race."
Lin Moyu was stunned, feeling something strange. He muttered to himself,
"Why does this sound more and more like a dungeon in a small world, just missing equipment drops?"
Thinking of this, Lin Moyu suddenly asked,
"Do the leaders inside drop magic treasures?"
He originally wanted to say equipment but changed it to magic treasures, as that was the term used in the larger world. Zhu Qiwu looked at Lin Moyu strangely.
"Why do you have such a peculiar idea?"
It seemed they didn't. Lin Moyu smiled slightly.
"I just thought that dropping materials was less straightforward than dropping magic treasures."
Lin Moyu then changed the topic.
"Since other races are active inside, haven't they reached the deepest part of the desert over the years?"
He originally wanted to ask if those races had reached the Nether Swamp and if Su Qingyang's soul was still alive. If Su Qingyang was already dead, there would be no need to rescue him. Zhu Qiwu said,
"Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. But Su Qingyang is still alive, that's for sure."
Seeing Zhu Qiwu's certainty, Lin Moyu asked no more. Zhu Qiwu said,
"Just do your best. If you really can't save him, it's okay. Your life is the priority."
Seeing Zhu Qiwu's solemn and serious expression, Lin Moyu felt the unusual nature of this mission again. The danger was certain, but the specifics of the danger might be unknown even to Zhu Qiwu. Otherwise, he wouldn't have kept it from Lin Moyu. With the battleship's final jump, they exited subspace and came to a complete stop. A vast yellow area appeared in their view.
"It's really big."
Lin Moyu couldn't help but exclaim. 1307 1307. Chapter 1307. The Peculiar Yellow Earth Desert. The battleship stopped at least 10 million kilometers away. Lin Moyu estimated that even the ordinary star systems in the human star domain were not as large as this Yellow Earth Desert. From the outside, the Yellow Earth Desert was filled with endless wind and sand, constantly howling. However, an invisible force restricted the sand, preventing it from leaving this land. In the sky above the Yellow Earth Desert, 9 enormous fireballs hung, like 9 stars, scorching the earth. Without even entering, one could tell that the temperature inside must be extremely high. Lin Moyu left the battleship and observed the Yellow Earth Desert. The sand dunes in the desert rose and fell, varying in height. Some were as tall as mountains, reaching thousands of meters high. He also saw patches of green which were oases. In the distance, rows of yellow earth mountains connected the sky and the earth, blocking the view. That was the deepest part of the Yellow Earth Desert where he needed to go. Looking at the Yellow Earth Desert, Lin Moyu couldn't help but frown. Zhu Qiwu asked,
"What's wrong?"
Lin Moyu shook his head.
"Nothing, I just find this Yellow Earth Desert incredibly large, even larger than the ancient tomb and a mysterious manor."
In fact, he had another thought in his mind. In a small world, he had experienced a large dungeon called the
Tyrant Desert.
For some reason, he felt that the Yellow Earth Desert was somewhat similar to the
Tyrant Desert.
As if the
Tyrant Desert
was a smaller version of the yellow Earth desert.
Maybe it's because both are deserts, so they look somewhat similar.
Lin Moyu thought. After all, desert landscapes are quite similar, so some resemblance is normal. Standing outside, one can only see the surface. Lin Moyu reviewed the information about the yellow Earth desert in his mind, as well as some information Zhu Qiwu had mentioned, and said in a low voice,
I'm going in.
He Chui know that.
I'll wait for you here.
Lin Moyu summoned the light speed lich, which shrank into an inconspicuous ball of light and clung tightly to Lin Moryu's body. In the next second, Lin Moyu transformed into a stream of light and rushed towards the yellow Earth desert. Zhu Qiwu watched him leave, his brows furrowed, and his expression slightly solemn.
I hope he can bring him back. Even if he can't, he must return safely.
Back then, after Su Qingyang disappeared in the deepest part, a significant figure had intervened. However, that figure couldn't rescue Su Qingyang, only bringing back some information. To save Su Qingyang, only those below the Divine Sovereign level could take action. At that time, several minor Divine Sovereigns from the human race had entered to rescue him, but all failed without exception. This time, Lin Moyu was taking action, and the outcome was uncertain. Zhu Qiwu was not confident either, as he had never been inside and didn't know the detailed situation. However, since minor Divine Sovereigns could return safely, he believed Lin Moyu could too. The yellow Earth desert was a world of sand. The wind and sand were everywhere, and the high temperature scorched the earth. Above the yellow sand, 9 fireballs burned fiercely, radiating terrifying heat. The temperature of the entire yellow Earth desert was frighteningly high, far beyond what ordinary superhumans could endure. Superhumans entering it couldn't last even 10 minutes. Logically, this temperature should have exceeded what sand could withstand, turning it into lava. However, the sand remained sand, and the high temperature remained high with very peculiar rules. Lin Moyu plunged in and immediately appeared in a peripheral area. Everyone entering the yellow Earth desert would appear in the peripheral area, but the specific location was not fixed. This rule was similar to that in the mysterious manner. No matter where one looked in the yellow Earth desert, the scenery was similar, making it difficult to find good reference points on the ground. An invisible force fell on him, preventing him from flying. The yellow Earth desert was a no-fly zone. No matter if it was spells, laws, or flying talents, none could be used here. Lin Moyu faced the wind and sand, looking at the fireballs in the sky. The 9 fireballs were the best reference points here. By their positions, one could roughly determine their location and know where to go. The 9 fireballs were arranged in a semicircle in the sky, forming a 4-3-2 pattern. The direction corresponding to the 2 fireballs was the direction of the desert's deepest part. When he was outside, he had carefully observed the yellow Earth desert, imprinting the entire desert's image in his mind. Now, comparing it with the positions of the fireballs in the sky, he confirmed his location and knew where to go next.
Now I am in the northwest of the yellow Earth desert, and I need to head east.
Lin Moryu's eyes showed a thoughtful look. In fact, there was no distinction between east, south, west, and north here. He defined these directions himself for easier understanding. Soon he mapped out a route in his mind. However, he did not act immediately but began to sense the laws in the yellow Earth desert. The laws in the yellow Earth desert were peculiar. Earth and stone laws dominated here. Other laws seemed to be driven away, becoming very weak and scarce. The fireballs in the sky radiated heat, making the desert's temperature incredibly high, but the fire laws were very weak, not much stronger than other laws. Without strong fire laws, how did the 9 fireballs transmit heat? Lin Moyu found it strange. He had felt a similar sensation in the mysterious manner, where death laws dominated. This meant 3 things. First, other than earth and stone laws, the power of other laws would be greatly reduced. Second, after consuming other laws, replenishing them would be very difficult. All cultivators fighting here would consume far more laws than outside. Their endurance and recovery abilities would weaken. Third, in battles here, because most laws' power would weaken, the advantage of physical attacks would become prominent. This referred to pure physical attack power, not relying on physical laws. In other words, the advantage of physical strength would be magnified. Lin Moyu tried to use his undead law and found it was not much affected. After all, his undead law did not rely on external laws, almost entirely depending on himself. Plus, the strong recovery brought by his talent tree made him less restricted here. While Lin Moyu was pondering, the ground not far away suddenly exploded, like a volcanic eruption, with a column of sand shooting into the sky. A sandworm, about 5 meters long with 2 pairs of sharp insect legs, burst out from the sand column. Sandworms were the most common monsters in the Yellow Earth Desert. They roamed beneath the sand in large numbers. When they sensed the presence of other living beings, they would burst out from the ground to attack. Sandworms were the weakest monsters in the Yellow Earth Desert, generally at the 3rd to 4th level of the Divine King realm. The sandworm landed, its 2 insect legs kicking hard, charging at Lin Moyu. To Lin Moyu, the sandworm looked somewhat like a mantis, with its front legs waving like 2 sharp knives. With a thought, a Legion commander appeared beside him. The Legion commander, 10 meters tall, stood in front of Lin Moyu, casting a long shadow that enveloped him. This was a Legion commander commanding 100,000 Death Knights. Although the Death Knights did not appear, it could still mobilize their power. It raised its giant sword and swung it fiercely at the charging sandworm. 1308 1308. Chapter 1308. Blazing Meteor, Yellow Sand Giant. The Legion commander's strike, infused with the power of 100,000 Death Knights, unleashed an attack at the 5th level of the Divine King realm, enough to instantly kill the sandworm. The yellow sand exploded, flying everywhere like a yellow cloud, rushing towards the sky. The fierce blade energy carved a deep trench several meters deep into the yellow ground. The sandworm, being the first to bear the brunt, was torn to pieces by the blade energy. Amidst the flying yellow sand, a fist-sized, golden, round crystal core fell to the ground. The Legion commander picked up the crystal core and respectfully handed it to Lin Moyu. The yellow sand fell like rain, but when it touched Lin Moyu, it seemed to hit an invisible barrier and slid off to the sides. Lin Moyu examined the crystal core in his hand. The crystal core was filled with earth and stone laws, very dense but somewhat chaotic. Even so, it was still excellent material, quite useful for comprehending laws.
No wonder it attracts so many people to come and comprehend the laws.
Thinking this, Lin Moyu casually tossed the crystal core onto the sand. The yellow sand flowed, and the crystal core slowly sank into the sand and disappeared. This was another characteristic of the Yellow Earth Desert. The monsters inside would drop crystal cores, but the crystal cores could not be taken out. Once they left the Yellow Earth Desert, the crystal cores would lose their function and become worthless. Not only could they not be taken out, but they also could not be stored in storage spaces. Once inside a storage space, they would also lose their function. There were not many human cultivators who comprehended earth and stone laws, and the human race had the Sea of Laws. Comprehending laws in the Sea of Laws was much more efficient than here and without danger. So, considering all factors, the human race abandoned this area and defined it as a hidden area. First, to protect human cultivators and avoid meaningless casualties. When comprehending laws, one cannot be distracted, making it easy to be ambushed or even killed. Second, the human race did not value such small benefits, having a strong foundation and better places for cultivation. Only some races proficient in these 2 types of laws, and without the Sea of Laws, would enter here, risking danger to comprehend the laws. Lin Moyu proceeded along the planned route, with a Legion commander in front of him. Death Knights continuously appeared on both sides, spreading out in all directions, getting farther and farther away. In a no-fly zone, the speed advantage of the Death Knights was very apparent. They had a charge spell that ignored terrain, allowing them to advance and retreat freely, very useful. As the Death Knights riding flaming skeletal horses disappeared from sight, they continuously sent back information, helping Lin Moyu perfect his understanding of the Yellow Earth Desert. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt as if he had returned to the small world, back to the state of clearing dungeons. The Yellow Earth Desert was too similar to a dungeon, with too many common points, making Lin Moyu feel very amazed. The Death Knights were filled with death energy, devoid of any life force, and would not attract sandworm attacks. The Yellow Earth Desert was vast, as large as a star system. In the desert, not only was flying forbidden, but speed was also limited. Speed was restricted to 30,000 kilometers per second, the minimum speed for the Divine King realm. No matter what method was used, this limit could not be broken. Even if he summoned the Lightspeed Lich and used its passive spell to put the Death Knights in a light state, the limit could not be broken. After trying various methods, Lin Moyu decisively gave up. Since the limit could not be broken, he could only comply. It was like the situation in the ancient tomb. Even though he saw the high mountain in the middle, he had to pass the cemetery's test to proceed. The cemetery seemed to have some special rules. Without passing the test, one could not enter the next stage. Following the planned route, Lin Moyu continued to advance in the Yellow Earth Desert, maintaining a speed of about 20,000 kilometers per second. He did not push his speed to the limit, leaving some room for himself. Along the way, he occasionally encountered sandworms, but they were easily killed by the Legion commander as soon as they emerged. The fireballs in his sight gradually grew larger, and the temperature increased. The scenery in the Yellow Earth Desert was almost unchanging, just yellow sand everywhere. Sand dunes intertwined, layer upon layer, stretching endlessly. With the howling wind, the sand dunes changed positions periodically. Large amounts of sand were blown to another place, forming new sand dunes. The original sand dunes, losing a lot of sand, would become flat ground. Only the 9 fireballs in the sky remained unchanged, not changing for many years. After walking for a whole day, covering about 2 billion kilometers, he finally approached a fireball. The fireball in his sight grew from the size of a fist to the size of a basin. The closer he got to the fireball, the higher the temperature. The space above the yellow sand showed slight distortions, becoming somewhat unreal. Outside the fireball's range was the edge area. Only by passing the nearest fireball could one truly enter the Yellow Earth Desert. Here, the power of fire laws was somewhat enhanced but still firmly suppressed, far less dense than earth and stone laws. Lin Moyu thought about the points mentioned in the information. After entering the Yellow Earth Desert, the sandworms in the edge area were not a big deal and could be easily eliminated. As long as one's cultivation was not below the 4th level of the Divine King realm, there would be no danger. The first danger point in the Yellow Earth Desert appeared when approaching the fireball. There were 2 danger points. One was the meteors falling from the fireball. The meteors were made of sand and stone, wrapped in intense flames, with deadly high temperatures enough to burn a Divine King to death. The second danger was the yellow sand giants that would be disturbed by the falling meteors. Compared to sandworms, yellow sand giants were much stronger. Although their realm was also at the 5th level of the Divine King realm, they could manipulate yellow sand to form attacks containing earth and stone laws. Yellow sand giants had very strong vitality, not as easy to kill as sandworms. Lin Moyu looked at the approaching fireball and did not stop, striding forward. Boom! The sky suddenly turned red, with clusters of flames appearing out of nowhere, turning into meteors and falling like raindrops. The flames were dense, covering an area of at least tens of thousands of kilometers. If it were another cultivator, they would become very embarrassed at this moment, having no choice but to retreat and dodge with all their might. But Lin Moyu did not take a single step back. He felt the blazing meteors and found that their power was only at the 4th level of the Divine King realm. The main lethality of the meteors did not come from the fire laws but from the deadly high temperatures. And what he feared least was this kind of pure elemental attack. Boom! A blazing meteor fell into the yellow dust, exploding violently. It blasted the yellow sand into the sky, flattening the sand dunes and creating large pits. Flames swept through the sky, the ground, and every inch of space. The sand blown into the air instantly turned into tiny fireballs. The sky and earth were ignited, turning the world into a sea of flames. Lin Moyu continued to move forward in the sea of flames, undisturbed. He occasionally paused or suddenly accelerated, sidestepping to avoid the falling meteors. The blazing meteors fell continuously, seemingly without end. This level of attack would be dangerous even for a fifth-level divine king without suitable treasures. Moreover, the blazing meteors were just the first step. In the distance, the yellow sand exploded again, and 3 curled-up yellow sand giants emerged from the dust. They quickly stretched their bodies, turning into giant monsters over 20 meters tall, rushing towards Lin Moyu. 1309.